Sade,
would be easier.
here, there's a wonderful
Hardcore.
people that help out, so still setting up here, so that's great. So I want to talk to you a little bit about voting. Many of you remember the voting when it was at the fire station over here. That's how long I've been around. And then it went over to the Ford School. And which I liked it when I worked up there. I could just go home and then go back to the class. But due to, I'm not going to lie, due to political things that do go on in the city, the voting was taken away from there. And they closed it down and they put it at the college. Some of you vote, I think still vote at the English, if I'm not mistaken. Some of you vote at the college, of course this year with the museum. And I know when I was checking the numbers, when Dan Cahill was running, there were so few people from what course it came. I was really sad to see that. Trying for many years to get the voting down. We went through committee that I think that might have started, the Libertarian Committee, and we went through them. We went through the City Council, we went through the clerk, we went to the state to say it wasn't fair that you weren't allowing people. A lot of people were finding it very hard to go someplace else besides the Ford School. And every time we had somebody come, and whether it was from the city or whoever it was, they said that the ramp wasn't good. And I said, well, how can that be? Because it's perfect for the children, but it's not good for voting. And I found out that it's supposed to be the same. We had handicapped people from different agencies come and roll their wheelchairs up instead of the drive. We had Mike Donovan who said that he would put a special voting. Here of everything. And then we started hearing, well, there's a piano in the voting room. I mean, there's toys here. Well, you know, when Cliff Ray was president, it was like being president of the school. She had every program going there. And we fought, and every time we thought we had moved ahead, the Libertarian Committee had voted for us, so when it went back, the mayor refused to sign it, the city council refused to sign it, and we ended up not having voting. One of the suggestions that Mary Audley, our clerk in charge of voting, she had suggested at one point, why not have it again? Well, at that time, we were so determined to get it back to Ford School. We weren't too happy about it, and she never proceeded to have it. This past year, we talked about it, and even when I was in Florida, I got a phone call from one of the counselors who said to me, you agreed to have this place a voting place. It's handicap accessible, it's got plenty of parking, plenty of lighting, and I am so proud this year that we have been able to get the voting back, and the voting will be here in September at the school. Those of us that vote on that voting. So, and again, I'd like to thank all of them because he really pushed that for us, and the rest of the council, they were very, very good. So, I doesn't like to say it's nice things, but I meant it. So we got a grant for mass vote. And we have a program because there's a certain way of how we need to get people to the school. We want to show the city that people are going to vote here. And we need to get the numbers up. It's really sad when you don't see the amount of numbers that are up here. Natasha, I'm going to need you here in a minute. And so we're going to talk a little bit. We want to talk a little bit about mass vote. I don't know if we want to talk about it, but just to explain to people.
Speak up a little louder. We're getting microphone here, but now just speak up a little louder.
Okay.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming. Sorry,
that voting's going to be back here at KIP. It's very exciting because a lot of people, while I was walking around talking to voters, said that it was really inconvenient for them to park at the museum and then go and vote. So a lot of people just didn't bother to go and vote. So we really wanted to change that. So we want to make sure people know that voting is important, and that's why we're fighting for that. So people feel like their vote does matter. And so that's what we're working for with Mass Vote, just to increase voter participation, especially in the Highlands, where it's very low. So please, thank you very much for coming and tell your neighbors, not only when you go to the polls in November, also bring 3, 4 people in as well, so all your neighbors.
I know. We tried to get, because at one time, a lot of two was Ward 4, and then we started to switch it around. We tried to see if we could get that section to be able to come Ward 2, but they're starting off right now with Ward 4, and it will be 4-1. David, am I right?
Yes,
Yeah. We tried to get the folks from the church to see if we could get them up here. We talked with Councilman Hunter about that, because we thought, I mean, I don't know how inconvenient that would be for you.
It's very inconvenient because they have this and they don't have an elevator.
Well, I worked in that school, so I know.
Do that, yeah, do that, I think.
Yeah.
Really difficult.
So what we would like to do is, if people are interested, they can come, I don't get a sign-up sheet, David, but if people are interested and they might want to help out with voting, to get the word out, that they should sign their name on paper.
Yes, yeah, we need a lot of help, as you understand that. 9% of the Highlands voted, registered voters in most of the city, last two elections. And we're trying to get them to call all the people at 414 encourage them to vote. In the situation, we need to get us a national election, attract a lot of attention. That's what we want to do. Any help we need people to help call, because we don't want a small group, just funds, and we need help. So we sign up there and put your name down, where you sign in, that you would help voting or anything else.
Or we can actually, if people don't want to go to the polls, they want to do absentee balloting, and we're in Florida, that's where we get our mail, so. And, so I think it's important that people are interested in helping out, they can see us afterwards. Okay?
Actually, if you don't mind, I think we need to do a better job of delineating where the line is. Because I live in Brook Street, I'm 2-4,
I know. We know.
so, but you go past my house, then that's 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah.
So basically, we need a better delineation of where.
Yeah, well, years of it ago, and I don't know if any of the councils, years ago, they redistricted everything. My feeling is they did it was for a purpose, it kind of broke up the Highlands, it broke up the Highlands.
I think we move over past,
Yeah,
it needs the extra help.
right.
The line should be back and forth.
Yeah, I know. So-
Leslie, it's basically done by census every 10 years, and it's by population, so one side of the street could be 2-4, the other could be 4-1. It's throughout the city, there's 28 precincts, and it is, sometimes odd side of the street goes this place to vote, the even side goes the other place, so it's done by census, generally every decade, and they have to redistribute the wards, so every precinct has the same amount of eligible and registered voters. Even though you may have turnouts that vary, every precinct in Lynn has the same amount of eligible voters.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And up in the area, I think that a lot of people aren't registered. There are a lot of people that became citizens and registered to vote. But they were afraid to go down to college, and then the museum was a disaster. So we're hoping that kids walk, just like they used to, walk their grandparents, their parents off to the school and bring them in and let them vote. And we'd like to see the numbers go up. Yes, oh, of course.
The city council set up a committee, so Brian Clapius, Bobby and Jim Lamata, so Vic also is coming as well. So we're starting, people can vote. So right now, not just changing the vote for precinct 1 and precinct 2 or we also move all ward 3 used to vote at the previous time. Now we all go vote at
Right.
so we're starting more, so right now it's in the process of keep some voting, so
That's
this is
wonderful.
so obviously it's not new alone, we've been working, so have to do a lot of exercise, like here, where I used to work with them for something like that.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on. We have a lot of things to talk about and hopefully we're gonna all in. I need 30, so Dave, you're up next. And Dave's gonna talk about cleanup, and then when I updated today, when I updated today, he was going out to take pictures of potholes, so.
David, yes, Director Highlands Village. You bring up that, the pothole, they want to acknowledge the police, and yeah, they want to do that, so if they want to say something, if they want questions directed to the issue of, to the police, please do that. They couldn't, police department,
I just wondered if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask us. I'm Lieutenant Dave Brown, Assistant Sergeant from Thornton Castle. He's a supervisor up in the Highlands. And this is Officer Dave Spell, that he works in this area on a regular basis. So feel free at some point if you guys want to ask us questions. We'll be here during the course of the meeting.
Okay, we have a section.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right, we all know that we all live in a home, but the problem in our societies is that the common areas are neglected, and that's where crime takes place, right? And the streets are part of it, and parks are part of it. So we know that 7, 8 years ago, the parks weren't used by the people. So we went to, in the Highlands particularly, we went to Henry Avenue, and the mayor gave us 10,000 to clean up the park. And then we got money to put equipment there. But what we really needed was an organization, was a neighborhood group to protect that park. Because why did we have Country Park? Why wasn't that used? Because Gus knows very well, it had been taken over by gangs and by shootings, like fights there, the famous fight by the English. So the idea of talking about the streets, we want to clean the streets, we want to deal with the potholes and the condition of the streets, because that's where, under the theory of broken windows and police alert, that's where stuff happens and people get demoralized. So I want questions, Bill, why don't you talk about the question you had, you were right across the street, the question you had about the address the situation.
Well, my main issue is if you travel somewhere, usually you don't notice the drug deal or something, so you can buy it. What we do notice is if you have gas over cars with more, but in particular what you notice are service vehicles like buses and taxis. Anytime someone moves into the area, usually you don't seem to have a car for about a month or two. Anytime they have to get lunch, a taxi shows up and they start talking more about a block away. They stop and then they talk for minutes at a time. Doesn't matter what time, it could be 2:30 in the morning, 3:30, 7 on a Sunday. And these are people that the city relies on to get people moving around. But all it would take was calling the supervisor and telling them that it is a big problem. And simply just use their cell phone when they come up. It's a huge issue. I've had people over and it's embarrassing.
Come up here.
Yeah, it's something that's very obvious to anyone that visits, or if I have my sister stay over who lives in Western Mass, that just doesn't happen anywhere else. Anywhere else, if you see someone in the street who's honking on the horn, you go out and say, what's wrong? I've actually done that, and the taxi driver starts swearing at me, and what'd you come out here for? I said, well, obviously there's a problem because you're laying on the horn, and it's something that's really a huge problem. Most of my neighbors complain about it. People that I have come over just look at you like, what's going on here? And that's one of the things. The second thing is trash everywhere. When I come home at night, the last thing I want to do is clean up someone's lunch off the sidewalk or the street. It's just, I don't know whether the city can get someone to go around and pick it up. The trucks are, big sweepers are too much of an issue to get them going all the time. It's simply just picking it up. I simply can't do it myself, and eventually it blows into my yard. Or they'll drive by and say, look at that house, it always has trash. You know, but it's not me, it's whoever just drives by. But other neighbors just give up, and that's just creates part of the knowledge here.
And in the Highlands, all the trash from the city blows up to the Highlands. I live on a dead-end street. I'm about as high up as High Rock is. And we clean all the time. We're lucky we have good neighbors. There are some people that aren't so good, and I don't understand that whether you rent or whether you own, this is your city, and people should be cleaning up the trash that goes around. It's like a wind tunnel when it comes up. So.
I have a garage, it's basically a three-wall area that I park my car in. It's filled with trash, just because, whether it's from the hot, whether it's people going out and whatever it is, that's the problem. Everything lines up.
I live up the top of Highlands, Black House on the dead end street. And I have followed trash from Allen Avenue, that was on Allen Avenue, down Allen Avenue, then turned the corner and grew all the way up to my house. So I'm getting not only the trash from not the people on my street, I'm getting it from other streets too.
I'd like to say,
And I go around, I pick it up, it's not that big of a deal, really. But, it is somewhat of an issue. I have to pick up everybody else's trash.
I'd like to say something. Come on in. The city has put a wonderful recycling program together in the last year. The bins are terrific. The recycling is, we did recycling education up here. We raised the rate from 5% to 25%, and over 100 people pledged to recycle 50%. That's part of the problem. We have bins that rats can't get into, allegedly. Okay, so we're moving in that direction as far as trash, but what it takes is a neighborhood, one person in a neighborhood. One person in a neighborhood can mess it up, and that's what we're trying to do, is to find that problem on the street and correct it. Yeah.
But who running your house cleans that up?
Well, I'll tell you.
People are throwing away their trash, but then it's all overflown, and then everybody's trash.
Yeah, we put some of those up. They're called Calvins after our friend Calvin Anderson. We named it after him. But the idea, we're cleaning up, that we just hired 2 people. We have 5 youth working with us now, and that's what their job will be, to clean up constantly. Because people are using them, and almost everything there is recyclable. And we'll put up more on this. It's a good thing. It's a good. All right. The question of noise and the taxis. Is there an ordinance about that? Does anybody know, Brian? Do you know about that? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there undoubtedly is a city ordinance that prevents unnecessary noise like laying on the horn or loud mufflers or any number of things. I mean, as a practical matter, the issue is enforcement. Obviously, the inspection division does have authority technically under that ordinance. We would exercise that. For example, when a job site was working prior to 7 a.m., we may be able to do something about that, but as a practical matter, if we're talking about floors going off at 2 in the morning outside of properties, it's really, as a practical matter, only something that an officer can respond to at that time, and even for that, by the time they get there, it's unlikely that you're going to actually find the offending taxi cab still there. So, I mean, frankly, I think that the best thing that can be done is exerting soft influence on the owners of these companies.
That's right. I think that we know, Bill, we know it's a certain, go ahead.
I just want to add to that, there's like a Chapter 90, Massachusetts Chapter 90 section regarding noise from the vehicle, which is also a city ordinance. However, a simple phone call to the cab company to speak to someone in charge of the cab company at the time that it's occurring, there's people that are working, ask to speak to the person that's in charge, let them know that this is an ongoing issue. They may not realize that that's a problem, you know? So if communication with the actual cab company might be the best way to go about it. So if there's several complaints into a particular cab company, that the cab drivers beeping the horns late at night, then I think they can police themselves.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
A little louder so everybody can hear.
You're talking cab companies, that's great, that's wonderful. I've been here, I'm what, now, 40 years. Let me tell you something, cabs are not the problem, not really. It's called loud cars going through, their music vibrating. The cars, you can't, these guys, I don't even bother these guys. You're not paying attention, I'm sorry. It's the stationary noise that kills you. The people that, I'll use the word ignorant, loud music, you can be here 9, 10 o'clock at night. Yes, we do have this. It's called B-14 in the city. I did my research. Again, I live in Lot now. It's not, you don't have taxes, I get that. They're just part of the yeah, they're just a drop in the water, really.
I think one thing we're doing here is we see the problems here. One thing, our philosophy was that we're trying to do, the city can only do so much. And the neighbors have to take our responsibility, organize themselves into groups. And that's what we're going to talk about, neighborhood watch. That's our idea of setting up neighborhood watch groups on streets where there's problems, and the neighbors can help cut the amount of visits. The police are visiting many, many times up here. They can't catch these things. So that's what we're going to talk about that in a minute. Any other questions about, there is a noise ordinance, I remember the Ward 6 Council put it through, about decibel level, but how do you catch the person is a question. Remember that. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Just, I don't want to leave that, but I think we're talking about trash a little bit. Just concerned, does the city have some kind of posting to let them know when it's street cleaning?
Oh, okay.
It's just incredible. I just can't imagine it. When I don't know post lines, nobody's telling me
Okay.
when it's cleaning.
ISD, yes.
So there definitely is a schedule that's available at the city's website. I know that I have been sharing it on the Inspectional Division Facebook page, in my timeline when I've been receiving it on a weekly basis. I know that Lisa Merrick from the Department of Public Works has been sharing the same schedule. And I also believe that the representative is sharing on his website. So there definitely are schedules that are available.
And then post them up on something that's on the stationery, like not post or something so we can know when street cleaning is due.
But those posters fall down and become trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, it's just arbitrary. You don't know when cleaning is being done.
Yeah, again, I don't think it's arbitrary. There certainly are avenues of public information. It may actually be printed in physical version of the item as well.
All right, thank you.
It's
Any
our
other
responsibility
questions?
to.
I did this little chart of potholes. 'Cause my car talks to me all the time, and she says, "Why am I falling into potholes?" And potholes are one thing. The condition of the streets is another. A few years ago, they did many streets up here. Rockaway Street was paved, Grand Street was paved, Hamilton up to a point was paved. Part of Hamilton, they didn't finish Hamilton Avenue, so the top part of Hamilton Avenue wasn't paved. Same thing with Beacon Hill wasn't paved. Lower part of Beacon Hill was paved. But we want to know, too bad that DPW is not here to answer that question. I asked them what streets are going to be paved here, and they said, well, they're hiring a consultant to determine which streets are in worse conditions. And I said, but you have to choose what streets it's your money. It's your, and I'd like to get an answer to that. What streets are being paved, and what's the plan for that? So, as far as potholes, can the councilors respond to that? Richie, or can you respond to that?
Okay. I was going to say, we did invite representatives from the DPW to join us tonight.
Right.
One in particular, Lisa's starting her vacation, but they anytime. So if you have a specific pothole that needs to be addressed, just send the address or the closest home to the pothole, and we'll get it covered. We'll send it down to the DPW.
Excellent.
If you have the pothole truck crew going out, it's only 2 people, and they usually go out when it's dry, of course. They don't do it during the rain, but usually the turnaround is a week or so.
Week or
We
so,
get a
good.
pothole filled.
I got 1 through 10, and Lisa's narrative is terrific. DPW does a great job. Their funds were cut for things last year, unfortunately, and in the past they had twice as many workers there. I remember Manny telling me that they had twice as many workers, so they're working under a lot of stress there. But we will turn up, call in and let us know.
Yeah, and if you can email me that list tomorrow,
Right. I'll do that.
Accordingly.
Thank
It's
you.
just on a Monday night, City Hall's not open, they're not working, so they don't have to, it's
Right.
voluntary to come. We thank Clint from ISD for being here and our police force, but, you know, to have it on a Tuesday night, we're all at City Hall. So we want to bring City Hall here to the neighborhood, but if you get me the street address, where the potholes are, I'll follow the police.
Excellent, thank you. And the same thing with street cleaning, except we want to see when they come up here that they let the cars know to move, because I've seen a street sweeper with zigzagging out parked cars. That's not the way to do it. Yes. When it happens.
They get plenty of notice to move their cars off the street when they're on the street sweeping. They're out there all the time telling them to move their cars.
Sometimes the person comes around announcing, please move your cars, they're street cleaning, but it's a time in the morning when people have probably gone to work, so they don't even know about it. I work in Boston. I'm glad I have a place where I can park my car, so I'm not on the street. But sometimes when I'm home, I do hear them announce it, and then all those people get ticketed because they're not home.
One of the problems with the potholes in the city are a lot of the streets are state-owned, and we have to get the state involved in fixing them as well as the city. It's not all just the city's fault.
I also went around and looked at the South Street over here. The DPW is not here, but there are some concern on some street they started and never finished. Like I walk from Hamilton to Craig Street is all messed up. They did the front, they never finished the back. The same thing with Hamilton, we just said, and we have other streets that they started and never finished. And I would have really, it would be a good thing if they could also put the lane separation on the street. The people, it's a two-way. The street is two-way. Sometimes you don't even know because there is no that yellow line. They never put it in between it. So that's something they should think about also. And for the trash, somebody began with the trash. We put that some little can on the boards. So we also rely on people, on homeowner, when they overflow. Please, if you can, just put it, empty it and put it back. That will be just something we can ask the people to do. If it's in front of your house, instead of letting it overflow and fall in the street, we will ask you please to help us putting empty, they put it back on the street.
Okay, just on the issue, one more issue on this, and we'll move on. Is that I did put a request, just my observation that the street that needs to be paved is Rock Avenue, because there's a huge amount of traffic. It goes by the school buses that bounce up and down in there. And I asked DPW if they would pave Rock Avenue and the ends of Beacon Hill and Hamilton that weren't done. And we should, maybe we'll follow up with that, Brian.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, that might be a good paving job. And anybody else has any ideas, talk to us and we can help you. Okay, so this is the pothole issue. We will not be the pothole capital of Lynn anymore. Until next year. Louis, you want to come here? Louis. We started a few years ago the idea of neighborhood watch. And the idea was all over the country. Actually, it was in Lynn. There were many streets that had neighborhood watch. The concept is that neighbors, just a personal example, my house was broken into years ago. I bought a lock, I bought a dog, I didn't buy a gun. I didn't talk to the neighbors. Once I talked to the neighbors, I found out who did it. And as I talked to them, found out this problem. And the problem is the neighbors, we don't know our neighbors, except the long-term neighbors know each other. Like people moving in all the time. The idea of neighborhood watch is to bring the neighbors together with good times and so you're leaving for a week, or keep an eye on your house, that kind of idea. Not just an anti-crime thing, but a pro-neighborhood concept. So we'd like you to sign up and we can help you. Right now we have one on Allen Avenue that started up. Anyone here from Allen Avenue? Yeah, there he is, Peter. Yeah, how did it work out? I mean, we're going to have another meeting. It's been months, but that's the idea.
No, I believe you guys say everything I'm going to say. There's only one thing on Highway Street. I live right down there, number 99. So it's 20 miles an hour. People all day like 50, 60 miles an hour. And kids, even my kid, and of course I'm very scared for that. And that's a very big problem there.
There's the other issue we have up here, of course, is the drug issue and drug houses that are very mobile. They go from one house to the next. And if you observe that on the street, a lot of people coming in and out, it's almost like a store. That's what we wanted to find out about. We did close a drug house by evicting the tenant. We've been working with the Lynn Police Department. A few months ago, we were able to close it on High Rock Street. And that's what we want to do too, because if you ignore it, it's disaster for you and for the street. So this will encourage it. It's all over the city, all over the country. It's a big, serious problem. Any other questions about street care and
how do you address the drug problem and not get retaliation from the people that are doing the drugs that are on those streets?
There's a few ways that you can pass on information to the police department. We have what's called a text tip, where you can actually send in a text and it's anonymous. And you can pass information along with regard to anything that's a non-emergency. So if there's ongoing drug concerns or problems at a house, you just pass that information along. Obviously, the more information that we have, the more we can do with that. Legally, we're limited as to what we can do with anonymous information. However, as the information comes in, we can corroborate this information and put a certain location under surveillance, and we can watch the activity. We might not be aware of it. But
Can we talk after the meeting?
Sure, yeah, anytime. I work nights, anyone can reach out to me at nighttime. My name's Brown, Lieutenant Brown, I'm commanding officer at nighttime. Feel free.
Who will we texting?
So you'll be texting me, you'll be texting supervisors within the drug unit, drug task force, special investigations unit, so you'll be texting police officers. tip of the city of Lynn, yes, yes. And there's also, you can always call anonymously. However, I don't want people to get confused. If there's a true emergency, you have to call 911. You don't send a text tip for an emergency. You call the regular 595-2000, or you call 911 for a true emergency. But just to pass on information, we can receive information through the text tip. We also have a hotline number for drug activity. That's all on the Lynn Police website. You can refer to that for the specific numbers and the text tip numbers. It's just a matter of passing information on to us. There's different ways you can do it.
Good question here?
Hi. Hello. So, I did have an issue with the drug dogs. They finally left us alone, and I had contacted the police department through the website. Is it anonymous? Texting tip you can do online and explain in detail. I need my phone number so they actually could call me and I could give them more details. One of the questions I had was, most of the activity happened during your shifts change in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
How would you catch them during that
Well,
hour time,
the shift change for the patrol divisions is different than other units, especially the drug units. So the patrol division is different than the drug units.
So
If they're aware of it, they'll still be working during our shift change, the patrol division does. And then they'll see what's explained. Not everyone gets up at the same time.
Lieutenant, is it still Tip Lynn?
Yes.
It's Tip Lynn.
Yes.
So TIPLYNN, if you're sending a text tip to the police, it's Tip Lynn.
Dave, I think someone over here.
If you want the numbers for Tip Lynn, 847-411. 847-411.
I have a question concerning the drug activity on my street. I have one on Facebook because there is a way to do it on Facebook. On my street, at least 5 drug transactions are done on my street. I live on Jefferson Ave at the bottom, Jefferson Street at the bottom. There's constant drug activity all the time. And I may see in one day, maybe one patrol car, but they constantly are doing drug deals on my street. And it's extremely frustrating because I have to keep my kids in the yard because I don't know if they're gonna start shooting or what they're gonna do. But we hardly ever see any police present on our street. And they know that the police is not gonna come on that street, so that's why they do their drug transactions on our street.
Drug dealers tend to be very sophisticated. They'll change their MO, their plans as to how they operate. So we have to keep receiving information such as this so that we can change our game plan as well. It's just something that we have to have a communication back and forth as to what's transpiring. We don't know everything. We're not omnipresent. But if you share information with us, we'll certainly do the best we can to try to address it. You may not see a marked cruiser, but there may be some drug detectives conducting surveillance. So there's different ways to investigate drug activity. It's not always going to be a uniform marked cruiser in the area for that purpose of drug investigations.
How is it that, the people that data being solved, like if we called you or spoke to you on the phone, how do we know that it's actually being acted on, or when we see results, or how do we know it's actually being investigated, I should say?
So, if you send information in to me on the text tip, I'll receive a text tip. If it needs an immediate dispatch where a mock unit has to go, I'll send that. And again, I want to emphasize this text tip is not for an emergency. It's not for a domestic or shooting. It's for to pass on information. So if there's a concern that I feel that a patrol unit, a mock unit, a uniform officer, that officer can remedy the situation, we'll dispatch the officer to handle that. However, when you tell me most of this drug activity requires some type of undercover capacity or surveillance, because they'll see the marked off unit, the uniform officer coming, and we won't be able to sit there and watch it in the marked unit. So what happens is the narcotics units, they'll see this information and then they'll do what they can on their end. So as far as telling you if someone's arrested or not, we're not legally, we gotta walk a fine line legally as far as information we learn or discover about people. I can't really tell you, like, so-and-so's arrested for drugs, but at some point it does become public when they're arraigned in witness report, and then usually at that point it'll be in the newspaper. But we have to be careful about disseminating information. We can't violate people's rights.
Could we be taking license plate numbers down?
Yes, that's helpful.
I've done that too, and I was told by police officers
Is what?
it was useless.
Well, it's useless in the moment because typically the cars are gone by the time someone can get into the area. However, that's information that over time we can work with. Like, again, this is anonymous information, so it requires more of an effort on our part and the part of the reporting for us to do something to act. It's not like I have a main person telling me, this, I just saw this happen, this is my name, I just was there, I just saw it. That's different. You can act immediately. But with anonymous information, you have to build a case, so to speak.
It does work because we've called legal license plates.
Yes.
And the same cars, the same makes, the same license numbers, the same two cars come up, they get out, walk around, and we've called police department and used the computer.
Yeah.
And it does work. You may have to do it 25 times or 30 times.
It takes time to build a case.
But if you wanted to go, you have to be consistent.
Yes.
But you guys have helped us because it just stopped. We didn't know whether you got them or not.
Right.
But it stopped coming up the street. So thank you.
Thank you. Is your goal to catch them or just to get them to move on to another station? Is that, when I was in New York City, we had these big walls that were telephone poles and it says cameras in the area. Why not get a trailer, park it in front of a house or whenever you get a few tips and just leave it there and have something written on it, Flint Police Drug Enforcement Unit, and have cameras all over it. And then when they go to the next house, park in front of that house. So, I mean, you just get, I don't know how much time they do when they actually do get caught, or how many actually go to jail, or whether the focus should be just to get them out of the neighborhood, essentially, maybe out of town.
Ideally, we would always like to make an arrest with regard to drug activity, and that'll hopefully hit the problem instead of dispersing the problem. But unfortunately, if we saturate an area with police presence, in particular uniformed police presence, that typically disperses the problem elsewhere to another neighborhood. So we would prefer to do a combination of surveillance, undercover capacity, uniform patrol. So it's a combination of different approaches and tactics. It's not just one specific approach. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah.
And that might work in certain circumstances, in certain situations. Especially that usually works good with speeding. If you have like the speed, the radar van there, or the traffic unit, that educates people that that's what they're going to see, and it'll deter the problem in that particular street. It's a little bit more sophisticated with drug investigations.
Okay, thank you very much. I have one more question on that.
Not really a question, more of a comment. I guess I'm the only guy in the entire room here, apparently, refilling I can inform. Everything the lieutenant was saying, if you read the newspaper, or if you even go online and look at this, I can't tell you how many times in all those arrests do I see drug-related arrests. These guys are doing it. They're doing it. They may be doing that, you're doing it in speedy, 1 hour crime drama, CSI fashion. But you know what? They're getting it done.
We have to see it. Just let me just clarify, the drug problem isn't specifically related to the city of Flint. This is an opioid problem throughout Massachusetts, New England, and it's an approach it's a combined approach in order to remedy this problem. It has to not just be a law enforcement approach, it has to be an approach from whether it's counseling or from medical treatment. It's going to take a combined effort, but we'll do obviously what we can, but it's not just limited to drugs, it's not just limited to Flint.
I just want to lead into another tactic we need to do, because like I say, the police are limited, and the city's limited what it can do, but it's a neighborhood that has to organize. We did this when we were in the Ford School Garden. We had the privilege of being in the Ford School Garden at one point, and we found from the neighborhood that there was drugs taking place and sold on Rock Avenue within 100 feet of the school. We were able to shut it down because we worked with the school, we worked with the drug task force, and we were able to close it. The question is, if an owner lives in the house and knows that there are drugs, they can evict the tenant. I mean, they can take, but for an absentee landlord, I think that's another problem we have here with absentee landlords. Is there a penalty for them if they know that there's drugs in the house, they're not evicting the tenant? Is there I thought there were sanctions against our landlord.
For keeping this disruptive or disorderly house, you can build a case towards that in certain situations, but you're referring to what we call third-party policing. You put the responsibility on the person who owns the property or the person who's in control, and they have an obligation to maintain and care for their property. And that's, we refer to that as third-party policing. So you're absolutely 100% correct. That's another way of approaching specific problems.
So I think that's what we have to do, emphasize the neighborhood watch. I'm going to lead into that discussion in 1 minute.
Good evening. My name is Vina. I'm living 200 Hamilton Ave. I've been living in Lane for 18 years at Southwest. A problem I have with the city for the and then they give us 2 bows, 1 for trash, 1 for recycle. And then a family of 5 in the house. And then when the bowl fill with the trash, like we don't have any place to put their trash. And then when I went to Stop and Shop, buy 5 bags for almost $10 or $12. $15. I don't think it's, I think I would like to know if the city can help or to calculate how many people in the house to give us more power and then so to make it work out for us. And then also I'm living in the dead end. My house is the last house in the dead end. And then when the people, they don't have space to put like a little bed, kids bed, carriage, stuff, chairs, table. They put it on the front of my house. And then I have to call the DPW to come to remove it for me. I don't think it's nice. I have a beautiful house. And then I don't think, it's nice, At midnight, people come at night. That's why now I put a camera in my house now to watch people, to do that. And then also myself, I call this DPW. I remove water heater. They change it for me, and then I put it beside my house. And then I call DPW. I call Lee City Hall. I call them if I can find somebody to come pick it up for me, or even I pay. People tell me City or Beverly, they have some kind of program. They give you a ticket to go get City Hall to get a ticket, put it on the whatever you have, and then when they come and then they take it up, they pick it up. So I called DPW, I called City Hall, they said they don't have that program. The bowels, the water heater stay in my yard. And then I call, so I find, when I see somebody passing by with a truck full of stuff, I run after them, can you go pick my, I have a water heater, I'm going to pay you to pick it up for me. I would like to know if the city can help us about with all those things. Because we know, like, Christmas come or people, we have to try some kind of stuff. If the city can help, or once a month, they can put a program or put, a truck, they can pick up some kind of stuff we have, because some kind of stuff we have, they can go in the bowl. So I would like to know if the city can help with that.
What street do you live on? Is that Ward 4? Is that your Ward? You talk with Richie about that? Or get in touch with Billy and talk to him about that issue? The trash issue was a huge issue until they brought the new bins in. I worked at Recycle with Julie Green, it was really wonderful. But I think they have to, you want to answer that, Bill?
I have some answers, maybe not the answers you want to hear, maybe not quite as good as the DPW were here themselves. Starting maybe at the back and working my way towards the beginning of your comments. In the first place, there are programs in place for drop-off of bulk items at the DPW headquarters along the Lynn there. Those have been implemented in the past several months. That's free to Lynn residents. So that can help you get rid of some of those bulk items. Secondly, in terms of the barrels that have been provided, the Lynn City Council, in working with the trash pickup company, has come up with a formula that they've come up with, and those are the barrels that you have. That being said, that's not to say that there aren't options. You can purchase the overflow bags for special occasions, Christmas, holiday parties, when you have folks over. You also can rent directly from Waste Management on an annual basis, both an extra trash barrel and an extra recycling barrel. So certainly no one should be in a position of being completely unable to fit their household waste in the items that they have at their disposal. I can try.
Why do they only pick up every other week recyclables? Because I'm telling you, in my house, it's myself, my husband, and I have a married couple living in my house. My son, who was in the beginning saying, I'm not doing any of that, he's become the maniac that goes into his, oh my God, there's a can in the wrong place, you know. But I don't understand, because in most cities, they come every week. And I think that would be a big thing. I know on Saturdays, if you have things you want to drop off, I think it's between 9 and 2, because we just did that. We had yard stuff, yard waste, things like that. And I don't think there's enough times that the DPW opens up so that people can bring. So if you look at the back of a park, you'll see there's bags. You'll see that there's springs, things like that. So I think that's a problem.
So I'll be perfectly candid with everyone in this room. I frankly have no input whatsoever into the pickup schedule. If I were speculating, I would guess that it probably relates somehow to the city contract with the pickup company and some sort of cost savings, or may somehow relate to the amount of waste that we're putting out on a weekly basis. I really don't know.
I also know for those things like a water heater, anything that contains iron or aluminum, there is the DPW will not take it, definitely. But you can go, there is a place across from the DPW. You can bring those things there, they will pay you for them. You put them in a truck or on your car. There is a scale. You go to the scale, you measure it. They put it on, they put it down. They measure it. You scale your car again. Then you pay you for whatever you drop. So I think the stuff you can bring over there, you pay you for it. Yeah, mirrors. It's mirrors. Yeah.
My house is last house in the dead end. When the snow comes, they crush the snow and then put it in the front of my house. I can even get out of my driveway. I would like to know if they can help this when the season comes for the snow, and they push the snow, they can put it more farther than leave it in front of my house. And then when the snow again, when they don't put the salt. They just put the salt on the top of me. My house stay without nothing. So please, I'm living in this house for a long time. I don't wanna. Sometimes I feel like sell it and go away. But I say no. Like my kids grow up in Lynn, so I would like to know if they can help me, because I don't want to, sell the house and leave, because when this is the home I can, please help me. When I call City Hall, sometimes they hang up on me, they say something, and then I have a tree. It's a city tree on the top of my house. If you, please, let me come. okay, I have a lot of issues, you know, today this is my chance to say it, so let me talk. And the tree is in the top of my house. If anybody go, you see that every day you go in the park, you see the tree, it's on the top of my house. I call the city, they didn't come to, to do anything. If it's falling off the top of my house, they're gonna say, I never say anything, I never call, I call, nobody go to do anything.
Unfortunately, most of those issues really are issues that the Department of Public Works would better speak to. I will say on a positive note, I think that the forecast for the week is clear 80s, so we probably won't have to worry about any plowing issues in the near term.
Thank you very much. There are the refreshments over here, that Brian and council provided. You want to come up here? Okay, other questions on this subject?
It's 12 to 4 on most Saturdays. They can read it on the DPW. It's federally funded from the city to bring big items.
Yeah, hi. One thing I can say, I never knew they had this program where you can dump the bulky stuff on Commercial Street. Someone actually told me about it. I think the city should inform people when they make a change like that. The people are dying over for trash. Because unless you go pay $75 before, as the starting price, you go and trash your trash. So people were dumping them everywhere.
I think we should bring the next meeting, have DPW here. A lot of these issues have to do with DPW and the streets, and we should bring them, let's move on, okay, to other issues, because this is the first of a few meetings we hope to have. Any final question on that? All right, 2 more questions, and we'll move on to, and then we'll get. Where is this? That was the situation at Cook Street and Henry Avenue. Cook Street, we've been able to reverse it with the garden. Our proposal, Highlands Coalition's proposal is to build the garden in High Rock Park. And it will bring people back who are growing food in, because if you don't use the park, the bad elements take over and mess it up. So, well, you'd be surprised how many neighbors watch it when their children are when they're growing food, and it's helped a lot. And that's why we want people to support the idea of a garden. We have a petition there of the garden we want to have at our park. We already have 175 signatures, and 75 people said they want to apply. And we're working to be free in the city. So that's one thing, but yeah, I know. I suggest we get the next meeting, talk to Lisa Nerick, who runs the parks. We've got at Cook Street, we've got a summer program there you can see. And we'd like to get a summer program at High Rock Park. That would help a little bit. But the general maintenance of it is what we're talking about. It's a tough situation.
Two things. First, I want to thank the police department. Whenever I call, if there's any time I call all the time, you come with the quickness. Thank you. Now, the Department of Public Works, do handicapped people have rights in Lynn? Because when they move the snow, they put it in front of the driveway, they put it in front of everybody's driveway, but it's like ice. And I can't move it, and I can't afford to pay someone every time they put the ice in front of my driveway. And I'm sure a lot of people have that problem. So I just want to bring it to the attention.
I suggest before the next snow flies, which I mentioned in November, December, we have a conversation with DPW and how are you going to approach cars that are in the street, how are you going to clean the streets, because people are getting fined for things that they shouldn't be. And let's come to Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about neighborhood watch, because I think that's part of the solution to a lot of these problems. We started signing people up for neighborhood watch with the idea that we'll bring the neighbors to get to know each other. They don't know each other, and when there's crime, you usually lock your door, and you go in your house, and then criminals take over the streets. That's what happens with drugs and other issues. We found that, for example, on this street here in High Rock, there were like 350 visits by the police in 1 year. A lot of them were to KIP for various issues. And I got a letter from a woman, a woman who as a parent here, saying there was broken glass here and she cleaned it up, she got hurt, but what can be done about that? And I said, well, we have to bring the neighborhood together in terms of an organization on each street. Years ago, there was a lot of neighborhood watch groups, particularly in West Lynn, I believe. And that was fairly successful, and they're not here anymore. So that's what we want to do. Anybody who wants to help us, please sign up. The other thing I want to bring up, I want to just break up, you want a neighborhood watch? Yes. We'll let you know. We're having one in 2 weeks. It'll be on Allen Avenue. We'll let you know about that the next meeting. Well, we have to combine a couple of streets. We'll do Bayview and Rock Avenue and Allen Avenue and a few streets to combine it. Okay?
If you're interested in that, let us know.
Few months ago, like 6 months ago, I used to get big issues on 99 Highway Street. Thank God. I have to say thank you for police department. They helped me a lot. I have to say thank you for Mr. Wichi Kuruchi. Anytime I call him, he's there for me. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Just one thing, I had a request. A young man here was helping us in the garden. He applied for a job. We hired youth also. We have 5 people hired. He's 14 years old, just graduated from KIP, and he wants to say something about the jobs issue, youth job issue.
Here at KIP, I'm Kobe Campbell. Here at KIP, we're taught to start things early and you'll get it done right. You can get it done faster in the future. So right now, there's an issue in the Lynn City Hall, there's a law that when you have to be 16 to apply for a job. And here we have papers up at the front desk to sign them so we can start go looking for work. I just called David. I was like, all right, I'm old enough now. Can I apply for this job? He said that they raised the age level, and that kind of disappointed me because I really was looking to start working at 14 to start raising money for my college fund and stuff. And I can't even do that because now they set it up to 16. I have to wait 2 more years, and it kind of made me mad.
Very good work, Ed. What happened? Every year.
All kinds of goodies over there for everybody. So, great questions. If you're concerned about something, you can sign up with us. You can talk to your counselor. You can, because that's the way it needs to be done. July 3rd at High Rock Park, starting at 6. Highlands Coalition started this many years ago. And the Frederick Douglass event. And you get to go up and hear all kinds of music. It's free. There's food that's there, and Wendy Joseph has taken that over, and along with the help from Rich Colucci, who helps, he buys pizza, he buys ice cream, he buys all kinds of goodies for the kids. There'll be pony rides up there, and if you haven't been to one of those events, it's a very nice event. So. I just want to be sure because people are leaving, and I want to make sure that you know about this. Also, and thankfully, we were very concerned because Cook Street, there were no programs up here.
There's no programs, as the gentleman said earlier, no programs at the Henry Avenue Park. I remember when they used to have those. No programs at High Rock. And nothing at Cook Street. And this year, with the help of Dr. Clint Crane, who had to leave, and Brian LaPierre helped push this a bit, and Lisa and Eric, we complained because we said we need to have a program in the neighborhood. Where are our kids going to go? They said, well, they can go to Sagamore Street, which is on the other side of the city, Upper Washington. And we said no. So we do have a program in place. There are flyers over there at Cook Street starting July 5th to August 5th. It's 5 weeks. It'll be Monday to Thursday, 9 to 3, Fridays, 9 to 2. There's sports clinics, there's arts and crafts, there's field trips. They were just opening up the new climbing thing that we wanted to get something at the park that wouldn't just be something brainless, that like you have to think about climbing. And there's a great climbing thing down there. We're going to put the swings back there for the kids. The kids will have lunch every day, and it'll be a great program. And for those in the neighborhood, there will be at the Ford School, there will be a lunch program, because again, they said because there was no summer school there, something that Dr. Crane always had, they said there'd be no lunch program, and we can thank school committee woman Donna Capola who fought for that to get a program out there for lunch. There's not going to be a breakfast program, but I know a lot of these kids, if it wasn't for the food that they get in the schools, and the lunches and the breakfasts, and I know because I'm very involved with my brother's table, you see a lot of the kids at night. So this is, one way we try to keep in touch, whether it's our program or somebody else's program, we like to announce that. And David, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about the garden.
Created the garden at Cook Street Park, and it serves for several purposes. It's teaching people how to grow food. People have a very high incidence of cancer, heart disease, which I had, diabetes, all connected with food. 60% of people are dying from food, 1% from gunshots. 60% of people die early from food-related issues. So that's why we're focusing on this at Cook Street Park. And we have 40 plots now, and we're going to have people in 10 countries growing food from their country. We'd like you to come down Saturday from 10 to 12, come down and see us. We're there from 8 to 12 every day, and come and help us. We cleaned up the park. We had a church last week, 40 people helped clean it up. We're also introducing what we call the Haiti Club, Healthy Eating Youth Club, which is 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade kids who are, most of the kids aren't eating good food. We know that. And we bring them to the club and we teach them how to grow food. We teach them about nutrition. We have exercise for them. And we have the creative arts. We're setting that up. So if you know any kids in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, Peter, you're too old for this. I know that, but please let us know. One of the other things we want, we did the Hay Club. I mentioned the Hay Club. Yeah. Anything else? I want to say we're a nonprofit. We're kind of a shoestring operation. If you want to make a donation, buy a T-shirt. It's $12, 2 for $20. This is a saying by Frederick Douglass, famous former Lee resident on it. And I want to thank Brian LaPierre, Councilor LaPierre, who set this up with us. I want to thank all the councils for coming. Any other questions? I want to mention that I want to say that I want to bring Andrea Munoz. Come up here. We have someone from the Boston Medical Center of Health and Joe Literature. We want to thank her for the donation. You need donations. We need help from people. Oh, we need labor. These are donations. And we'll take a picture of a check here in a minute. Okay. Thank you for coming. Any other questions?